Hello, everybody. Welcome to Elevate Your Inner Peace. And I am Lynette Ferguson. And with me, I have Jeanette Johnson, Jamie Beasley, and Lynn Sobolski. And together, we are going to be delivering some of the messages and things that are coming through through astrology, through tarot, and through just intuitive readings, intuitive messages, so on and so forth. Did you want to introduce yourselves, ladies?
Yeah, I'm Jeanette Johnson. I am an astrologer since 2000. I do personal readings, short forecasts, and other little astrological goodies, and I can be found at Denora Johnson Astrology on Instagram and on the web.
Very good. Jamie?
I'm Jamie Beasley. I am an energy healer, an intuitive, and a spirit communicator. And you can find me at jamiebeasleyintuitive.com.
Very good. And Lynn?
My name is Lynn Sobolski. I am an intuitive who primarily reads tarot, although I read crystals as well. And you can find me at footnotestarot.com.
Very good. And I'm Lynette Ferguson, and I'm with elevateyourhealthvibe.com. So, all right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So I think, Jamie, we're going to start with you today. You and I had a conversation the other day, and you were tapping in and getting some intuitive messages based on some questions that I was asking. And so I think you wanted to share what you were getting during that intuitive session.
Yeah, so I want to share one thing that has been coming through lately on my healing sessions. And that is from a soul level, we want more than anything for each other to succeed on our path. But from a human perspective, we want to save the people that we love from like any pain or hurt. And so before we incarnate here, before we come here, we all choose our path. We choose the life experiences we're going to have, and we choose the things that we're going to heal. We choose our experiences. And so if we continue to save the people that we love from falling, from pain of their choices, then we actually are removing the learning experience from them. So allowing the ones we love to fall is actually allowing them to fulfill their path. So that's just a separate message, and I felt like that was important because it keeps coming through. Um, because we need to stay on our paths. A lot of times we get off of them, off of what our purpose is to help somebody else, and it's not always necessarily helping them. So the messages that I was getting when I was having this conversation with Lynette was one of them was that we all have spiritual gifts. Um, we're all capable of doing things well beyond this world. But when we come here, we purposely forget all of those gifts because that's supposed to be part of our journey, part of our path is reconnecting with those gifts. And the way that we do that is we have to go within. We have to go within. You have to um, meditate in whatever form of meditation you want to do, but we have to connect. We connect to source or God. We are connecting to our higher self. We're connecting to our guides, our spiritual family. And most importantly, we have to stay connected to our intuition because our intuition is what is going to truly guide us and keep us on the learning path that we came here for. Um, Another thing that I was getting is right now the earth is really trying to raise her vibration. And so, in doing so, there's a lot of unusual weather patterns that are happening. And what I was getting is this is the new normal. Like this is not going to get better. And we're seeing a lot of weather patterns where people are experiencing types of weather that is not typical for that region. And that is shifting, that's changing. And so, what I was getting is that we need to be prepared, but be prepared in the sense of like, don't think I live in this specific area, so this type of weather would never happen here. And so don't think that way anymore. Just kind of always be prepared for anything at this point. And as energy workers, it we need to anchor the light into the earth to help her with this shift, to help her raise the vibration, to help her shed and shake off this energy that no longer serves her. Um, Another thing that I was getting is as energy workers, um, we have to disconnect from what's going on in the world. When we um, when we connect into all of the fear and the anger and the division and this heavy, heavy collective energy, it drains our energy and it disrupts our frequency. And we are here to heal, right? So healers are not meant to carry the weight of the world. We're meant to stay anchored in the higher frequency so we can do the work that we came here to do. So, for energy workers, for healers, protecting your energy is part of the work that you came here to do. So, um, as much as we can, tune out tune out what's going on and do everything that you can to keep your vibration raised because it's not just about you, it's about the earth and it's about everyone here. And then the last thing that I saw was, and this is going back to energy workers or healers of any sort. Um, People collectively are losing their faith in Western medicine. And this has been happening kind of for a while, but it's becoming worse. And so there people are starting to look at alternative medicines and alternative healing. So as energy workers, back to anchoring the light, we also need to put that beacon of light over our heads so that we are that lighthouse in the fog. So that the people that are trying to find a way to heal themselves, not even just from traditional Western medicine, but they're trying to heal themselves of all of the weight that we carry as we move through our lives, right? And we're holding on to all of these thought patterns and beliefs and everything that shapes the choices that we make. There's a lot of things that need to get healed, and so people are starting to seek out alternatives. And so as energy workers, we need to put that light beacon above us to show the people that are seeking us to help them find us. So I think that's pretty much what I was getting.
Very cool. Yep, I've been saying that for a long time that I mean, I know for myself I disconnected from the media back in like 2009 and because I could feel the manipulation from it. And so I just stopped watching the news, I stopped watching television, and I can't help but think that my guides were basically guiding me to do that, like disconnect from the news, so I could raise my vibration and my frequency. And so I continue to do it today. I mean, there was a point in time when I went down the conspiracy like rabbit hole where like following all the, all the political conspiracies and all that other stuff. But I've since over the last couple of years just disconnected from all that as well because it's still energy that's kind of like being harvested, right? That energy is still being harvested, the loosh energy. It's all the fear and it they're still getting something from it, regardless of what it is. And so I've just kind of disconnected from all of it. I just tell people I live under a rock. Right. And what I tell people is take back your power, right? Because if you're giving your power over to, the world stage and you're like pissed at, whoever, right? What it doesn't matter what side, right? If your response to what's happening in the outside world is anger or frustration or disappointment or whatever it is, right? Like that's now what you're vibrating at is that energy. And so just disconnecting from it helps us to stay centered and stay neutral so that we can be that beacon, right? So we can have that light that we're a lot of us are here to anchor, right? A lot of us, especially anybody that's watching this podcast is likely, a healer, light worker, star seed, you name it. Like those are the type of people that are here to anchor the light. And so that's what we're here to do. And we can't do that if we're super connected to the outside world and the world stage, because it's literally keeping us anchored to that lower timeline versus disconnecting from it so that we can be on the higher timeline. Because we're supposed to be spending our energy creating what we want, right? And focusing on what we want and not what we don't want. So, so yeah, totally resonates with me. And it's interesting that you were getting the same thing.
And one other thing, so you were talking about anger, and anger is one of the lowest vibrations. So when you're carrying anger around, your vibration is always going to be lower. And so when you have a situation where you feel compassion for the situation, there's nothing that you can do for the situation. What you can do is you can send it light and love. Send your light and love out to the situation, to the people, to whatever that you feel is going to help you to not sit in that anger and release that anger for healing. Just give it over to the universe and just say, I release this anger. I can't carry this. It no longer serves me. And then whatever the situation is, send it your light and love. And that is how you can help it. And that, even though it seems like you're not physically doing something, sending light and love, sending that energy out with your intentions is huge. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yep. Yep. And that's the right way to do it. Right. And I tell people too, like there are people here who are meant to be on the front line fighting, right? There are people who are meant to be in politics. They're right, that is their path. The light workers, that's not our path, right? Our path is to anchor the light and to stay in that neutral energy so that we can continue on that mission. And the people who are meant to be on the front line, they know they're meant to be on the front line because they're doing it, right? So the people who are like the keyboard warriors, out there on Facebook, slamming whoever, right? They're they're not on the picket line, right? They're literally sitting behind their keyboards just in anger and angst and like all that. And like it's not doing any good, right? It's harming them because it's lowering their vibration, and yet it's not actually making any change. You're not going to change somebody's mind by, posting, awful things about Trump or whoever, right? It's not going to change anybody's mind. It's just wasted effort. So better to just, you know what? Just woo, zen, woosah. Better to have that energy than to just like putting it out there, on social media, all the anger and the frustration and everything. So, so yeah, definitely. And they say that there's two where there's two emotions or there's two fear and love, right? That's the polarity, right? Fear and love. If it's either from fear or it's from love. And so anger actually stems from fear, right? Fear of something. And uh so staying in that love vibration, like you were saying, right, that is the answer, right? Sending love and light to the situation, to the people, to the, whatever it is, that is the answer, is to switch from that lower vibration to the higher vibration. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on the astrology with this for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So right now we're in Capricorn season, so people are just getting back into reality, getting back into structure, but pretty soon we're going to have a lot of planets in Aquarius. We have Mercury, Venus, and Mars all going into Aquarius, also the sun on the 21st. And what these planets are going to do, Pluto is at 3. So Aquarius is a sign of the collective, and Pluto is power. So when these personal signs match up with Pluto, it's like, how do we have power? And love is more powerful than anger. Anger is giving away your power. So a lot of people are going to be in tune and thinking about the collective, the bigger picture, but they're going to have to look inward and be like, okay, well, what does this mean for my life? What can I do for myself? Because to change the world, you be yourself. It's not just sending light, it's being the light. It's basically being an example. Maybe you work in an office and everyone's all stressed out and you're magically happy every day for no reason and no one could figure it out. It's those little steps that we're going to be needed to take. Uranus rules Aquarius, and that's going to go direct early in February. So we're going to be moving forward with this idea of what's best for the collective, what's best for my friends, what's best for everyone. And you realize that harmonious love, like not lowering your vibration to meet them, but just not trying to change them either, because then you're messing with their karma. You just want to be a distant example and let them kind of figure it out. And it's not that you're better than them, but it's just if you're a healer, you're more used to not flipping out when something goes wrong and plugging into the collective love that is always out there. It's just a channel that not everyone is tuned into so easily. Lynn, do you want to pull a few cards on maybe a situation like that?
I have had four cards sitting here since we started. They are from the Prisma Visions Tarot, and
Ooh.
I'm going to dive right in. So the first card that I'm pulling is the Star. And so the Star in tarot is like the ultimate hope card. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. This is the keep going, everything is going to be okay. This is don't give up, when you can't see, just keep going sort of deal. So for the reading to be starting off with this, what that's really saying to us is, yes, we're struggling with some things, but they're not unmanageable. This idea of, healing, of thinking about the collective, it's new, but it's not completely unmanageable. The next card that we are pulling is a reversed page of Pentacles. Um, Pentacles is possessions, and the page is some sort of message. What I'm feeling from this is that this has more of a Uranus collection, a Uranus feeling to it, a sudden shift in what we think about our possessions, how we display our wealth, how we show how much money we have, what we think about the amount of money we have. And that kind of ties into a more collective energy of seeing people more as equals rather than like getting into this ego-based, I'm going to show off all of my possessions and peg my self-worth to those things. We are also pulling the Justice card. And so, with the increased focus on the collective, there's also the sense that justices justice will be known, justice will be achieved, that people who are suffering, who are oppressed, who haven't been given opportunities, who have had things stolen from them, will get to repossess some of what was lost. And finally, we are pulling a reversed Empress card. I'll flip it this way just so you can see what it looks like. When I pull the Empress card, this is speaking directly to the healers and light workers and, essentially the people who are really going to be tuning into a podcast like this. And the fact that this card was reversed says two things. Number one, this is an activation. We hear this, we've heard this before over the years. Oh, the things are shifting and the healers have to come to the front lines and so on and so forth. What this card is suggesting is this time it's really happening, guys. Um, and just like so many people are poised at the beginning of the year saying, how am I going to have things roll out? We as healers have to be prepared for what's coming ahead. And so for some, it means healers who are emerging into their purpose for the first time without a lot of experience, without a lot of guidance. This can also represent healers who are already out there who are having their own energy impacted or turned upside down because they're feeling this shift in the collective, because they're empathic and all of the feelings are landing on them, because as healers, you have to feel the things in order to heal the things, but that's the double-edged sword. It means you have to feel the things. And it means that even the lessons we have learned this far when it comes to self-care, some things are going to have to change. The places where we kind of take shortcuts around self-care or we don't really do it, um, those are the ways that we're going to have to work to improve ourselves. So I love how this card came out because we are on a podcast literally talking about elevating your inner peace. And so we can bring this right back to even just the basics of meditating and taking breaths between your words and chewing your food and getting some sunshine and things like that that we forget to do because we're busy or we're tired or we're overwhelmed or we have a bunch of clients and we're trying to help everybody. But this is a time more than ever where, as healers, we really do have to focus on ourselves and making sure that we continue our own healing journeys so that we have the right experiences and energies to put out there and attract the people who we are most equipped to help rather than just any old people out there who need help, because that's a lot of people. We have to be selective about who we help.
We do have to be selective, but a little side note, Neptune is going into Aries at the end of the month. So it's not so much about spiritual self-care, which it always is, because you have to be healed yourself to heal others. But it's this idea of spiritual action, walk in the walk. Like someone, you're in a situation with someone and you would normally, react with like anger, fear, anxiety, and like I said, plug it into those frequencies of love and abundance that are always there. It's just we're not aware of them sometimes unless we make an effort. And it's that effort and having people see, like, oh, okay, there's another way to go about this in these situations that life throws at us. So Neptune and Aries is just going to be about the action that we take in certain situations. Pisces is more the spiritual understanding, the spiritual awakening, opening up to our senses. But the Neptune and Aries, especially with Mars and Aquarius, it's going to be how we interact with each other and what actions we take. So it's really easy to read a book and be like, okay, that sounds like that makes sense. Okay, calm down, take a deep breath. But then when you're in the situation that would normally cause panic, to have that instinct reaction to be to calm down, because you control things by slowing down and letting go, not by speeding up and being anxious.
And
Any
that I
thoughts,
think,
Lynette?
well, I think there's something else, Jamie. I think you were also getting something about like I think I was hearing you say like anchoring the light, right? So I mean that literally made me think of like going out and putting our feet in the earth, right? And so to what you were saying, Lynn, of like meditating, but also going outside and being with nature and, sitting against the tree and, connecting with, everything that's, outside, the trees and the birds and the squirrels and, whatever, putting your feet in the ground and the earth. for those of us in warm enough climates to do so, when you're not, buried in, 6 feet of snow or 12 degree weather. I'm lucky enough to be in Texas, so it's 80 something degrees here today. It's really, really warm. Not in Canada though, or New York.
No, New York warmed up. We actually got to 40 today.
Oh,
Yeah, above freezing.
that's awesome.
One thing that I picked up, Lynn, what you were talking about. So, Lynette, when I was getting information a few days ago, and I heard the word mobilization, and I didn't know what that meant at the time. And I just got that message when Lynn was talking, and that was that the healers are being called into action.
Mhm.
And Lynette, I remember getting a message probably over a year ago that said we are just supposed to kind of sit tight and we are going to know when we're being called into action. And that I believe is what's happening now.
Oh, wow.
I know this
I know.
hair just went up on my arm when you said that.
I know that you also had a session with a mutual friend of ours, and you were actually telling her about the medical system, like is going to be shifting, right? There's going to be some disruption in our medical system because of this. I want to say it's like I was talking to a friend today about insurance and how she is wanting to get on like a weight loss medication. But they have the insurance company has a stupid rule where you have to take some like epilepsy medication and or something else like for like 90 days before they'll let you try like Ozempic or trizepatide or whatever it is. And she's like, that makes no sense. You're spending all of this money on something that is messing with my brain, that it may not even help. And yet this solution, that I'm wanting is way cheaper. And people are frustrated and they're fed up. They're like, this system is not working. It's broken, right? The amount of money that we're spending on like not even just copays, but our monthly payments for our healthcare is insane. People can't afford it. It's not affordable, right? And then just the level of waste and corruption and everything else that's, in all of our systems, right? Like, I mean, that's what's being foretold, and everything that I'm listening to is that these systems are coming down, right? And that is what Trump is actually here to do, is to help dismantle and disrupt. That's what his role is a disruptor, right? So he's a disruptor and he's here to disrupt all of these systems that are not serving humanity. And so that includes our your medical system, financial system, so on and so forth. And so we are going to see these systems unraveling and humanity having to like pivot and be like, okay, now what? And there are going to be, people that are seeing that their doctors aren't solving their problem, are they're seeking out alternatives, right? They're now seeking out functional medicine. They're seeking out, infrared therapy and all of these different protocols that are available that are somewhat simple and inexpensive for all types of things. And people are just literally leaving those allopathic systems and ways of treating illness in droves. And so they're seeking out people who are into natural medicine and energy medicine and so on and so forth. The tide is definitely turning in our favor. And so I think what you're picking up on is that it's our time. Like 2026 is it, right? It's like, okay, go time, right? That tipping point has now been reached, and now we're like going over, right? Tipping point, and now it's like, okay, now we're on the other side of it, and we're going to start seeing people coming and seeking out the healers and the alternative medicines and so on and so forth. And I think they're just going to withdraw their energy even from all of the old systems because they're not working. They're costing so much money, and yet they're not solving the problem. They're actually making us sicker. And so people, as they're realizing this, are, they're jumping ship and they're like, I'm gonna go, look at alternatives and do it another way. So I don't know. Do you have anything more to say on that, Jamie?
Um, no, not really, just that um I think um a lot of it has to do what I was getting was, and I don't know this, I was getting this intuitively. People, this is people going to the doctor and the doctor saying, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know like how to help you, right? Like where they're literally not getting the answers. Um, so, and what I'm hoping is, I'm hoping that this is going to help people to understand the connection between the like emotional blocks that we're carrying, like all of the inner kind of inner stuff that needs to happen to heal in order to help to heal the physical, right? Like that would be, I feel like that would be ideal is for people to start to learn that there's a connection, to learn that they have more control over what's going on in their body than they realize. And they have the ability, we have the ability to heal ourselves. We
Mhm.
have that ability. And I just want us to realize that, to remember that is what I'm hoping. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that as they turn away and they look for alternatives, they also start on that path of learning where all of this is coming from, where it's originating from, and the amount of control that they have over their own health.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it comes from, as we know, trapped emotions, trapped energy in the body, but it's also thought patterns, right? So it's how we think about things, holding on to, anger and resentment and grief and like all those emotions that are super heavy and they literally get stored in the body. And then wherever they're stored, it causes an ailment. And so that is, as we know in like traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture and so forth, right? You've got, the liver holds, anger and the lungs hold grief and so on and so forth. And so even like the heart, like I knew someone who was having heart failure and his doctor literally asked him, have you had like heartbreak? Like a breakup or something, you've got a lot of heartache. And he's like, yeah, he's like, well, that can be a contributing factor. I couldn't believe that an allopathic doctor actually said, that your heart failure could potentially be tied to this heartbreak, right? And but it makes a lot of sense. And so people I think are, not only realizing that, but then um, when they don't realize it, but they come to somebody like, you or me, Jamie, and we're picking up stuff in the body and, literally releasing it for them, that it helps them feel lighter and helps them to literally just get rid of all of it so that they're not carrying it around anymore. It's amazing what I find um stored in the body and you too. Like, I mean, you and I have we share notes all the time on our clients and what's coming up. So yeah.
I think it's an interesting theme of like forgiveness. I think people misunderstand forgiveness a lot. Like forgiveness is not saying whatever they did was okay.
Mhm.
Forgiveness is saying, you know what, I don't have to think about this anymore. I can let it go. And some people think that holding on to that anger, it's like you have power over them. It's like, well, you scorned me and I'm gonna remember. And it's the total opposite. Like when you forgive them, it's just saying, I don't have to let you take space up in my mind. It really is that simple. It doesn't mean it justifies anything they did. And it's so liberating when someone wrongs you and you could just be like, and just move on with your life and notice, you'll lose weight, you'll have more energy, like all these great things will happen to you. Lynn, funny question. Do you know a good crystal for this one?
I actually brought two crystals today. The first one that I brought is calcite. You can call it honey calcite, golden calcite, yellow calcite. I mean, they're all just kind of industry, adjectives that point to the same thing. Um, this is sometimes known as one of the master healer crystals, and it is a solar plexus crystal. And so, we've been talking about the collective energy, but also this focus on like ourselves and our own healing. And so I think the solar plexus crystal is, it's related to digestion. It's the body's second brain. It's how we're processing and assimilating what we've been given. So there's that. Um, to your point, when you say you have so much more power when you can forgive somebody and then just like let it go and be standing in your own, energy. So the solar plexus, this is the seat of the will. This is the I am energy, and this is where people have strength. The other crystal that I picked that I believe is especially for the healers, and it's not really a crystal at all. It's called goldstone. This is a piece of blue goldstone. Um, and basically, this is just glass that has little copper fragments in it, and it was created by accident. And so it comes in a couple different colors. What I tend to notice with this stone when people kind of are drawn to it, it's directly tied into somebody's energy signature. This is copper. We are basically electrical beings. And so when people are moving towards copper, it's kind of like saying, I need an extra spark. I need an extra boost. I need an extra thing to radiate light. And the fact that this is the dark blue version of this speaks to your third eye and your intuitive abilities. And so it's a reminder to the healers that as you increase your vibration, your intuitive powers increase also. So it's kind of like doing the things that you need to do for you to raise your vibration also on in some way makes your work easier.
I like it. Any final thoughts?
I One of my final thoughts, as I've been doing readings, this theme keeps coming up of what a hardworking year this is going to be for all different sorts of reasons. And so I would just kind of put out there in general, if you're sitting there with like this massive to-do list and being like, I know exactly what I need to do, this, and this, and I have all the things, and let's go, you know get off your Mustang, Sally, sort of thing. Like, slow your roll. You have all year of 2026 that you're going to be working hard. And so, the goal is not to say, oh, I have these things that need to be fixed. I have these things that need to be healed, and I'm going to do it in 2 weeks, and then I have to move on to my next task. It's like, no, no, no. We're going to be putting the work in. And, you know, whatever people are doing, they're putting the work in. If you decide to run and run and run from your issues and not change your perspective and not participate in the healing process, then you're going to work really hard to avoid and to keep yourself walled in, and it's going to get more and more difficult to do so. Versus if you say, hey, I'm going to put the work in by just shifting my perspective, allowing for a new concept, allowing for a new idea, taking on some small little new habit. That's how we get the ball rolling. So there's no need to really look forward and say, I have this master plan to accomplish all of these things and be diving in, in a way that is not supportive of our energy and self-care. I would say the general theme for this year is just slow and steady wins the race. you have everything you need. It's just getting back to one of our earlier discussions. It's remembering that you have everything that you need and remembering what your body and your spirit are capable of.
Do that now while Saturn is in Pisces, because he's going into Aries. I think it's, what was it, mid-February, and we're gonna feel a rush because Aries makes us feel like we don't have enough time and we had to do it 5 minutes ago. But the slower you work, the more effective your work is. So it's using that Aries energy differently with the let me just start from the beginning and take it from there. So it's a different way to use that energy. And, Aries is based on Mars. So it's just, taking notes on what actions you need to take, but they don't have to be done in the next half hour. You know what I mean? It's just having a plan, but pacing yourself.
And I just want to kind of piggyback on both of those things, of kind of like what I was getting, and that is just to keep being present in the moment, right? Um, Doing what you can and like worrying about what is today, what is happening today, and to not be putting your energy ahead of you. Um, Worrying about the things that are out of your control, just staying present and doing what you can in the moment, in this day, um, and kind of it's keeping your energy. It's keeping your energy. It's keeping more of your energy with you when you stay present in the moment.
I like it.
I agree. That's definitely key for sure. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. And it's been an awesome conversation as usual. So we will be on again next week. And until then, everybody have a great week. And thank you for being with us today.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.